Joining us now is Gbenga Sesan with stories trending around the world. Hello, Adesua. Good to have you on the morning show.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning,
Thank you.
Aya. Good morning,
Adesua.
Rufai.
Good morning, Adesua.
It's nice to see the weekday team on the morning show. Nice to join you here. Well, let's begin what's trending in the United States, where violence broke out on the streets of Los Angeles, California, as pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli protesters clashed at the Adas Torah synagogue during an Israeli real estate fair on Sunday. The pro-Palestinian protesters were demonstrating against the sale of land in the occupied West Bank, which they claim violates international law. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden denounced the protests in a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. President Joe Biden's tweet read, "I'm appalled by the sins outside of Adas Torah synagogue in Los Angeles. Intimidating Jewish congregants is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American. Americans have a right to peaceful protest, but blocking access to a house of worship and engaging in violence is never acceptable." The protest occurred just days after Israeli defense soldiers tied an injured man to the front of a vehicle in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. According to the injured man Azmi's family, he was hurt during a raid, where the family then requested an ambulance, but instead the army took him, strapped him to the hood of the vehicle, and drove away. The Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, has stated that they are investigating the incident. Well,
it's not enough that the Israeli Defense Forces are saying that they are investigating the incident. They say what has happened using a person, Azmi, that's the name of the Palestinian, as a human shield is inconsistent with the practices of the Israeli Defense Forces. However, we know the various atrocities that have been committed by the Israeli Defense Forces, either in the Gaza Strip and now in the West Bank, in violation of international law. Now, the West Bank is interesting. To the second, largely occupied territories, largely, Palestinian territories in that region of the world. You have the Gaza Strip, where the Israelis are saying they wipe out everything that moves in the Gaza Strip. Now, West Bank, which borders Jordan, the Dead Sea, and is circumscribed by Israel in a landlocked manner. And that West Bank is a subject of international law. In 1948, after the Israeli-Arab war, the Jordanians, they took over that place. They stayed there till 1967. During the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel took over the territory. In the 1980s, the place was partitioned after the Oslo Accord into A, B, C. The C part was supposed to be kept by Israel, controlled by Israel, while the A and B part will be held by the Palestinian National Authority. The C part, Israel was supposed to hand it over in 1997 back to the Palestinians, but Israel refused. So it's a big center of conflict. The Israelis are saying that is their ancestral homeland, and that's why they are holding on to East Jerusalem, and that they have a lot of biblical sites there. The Palestinians are saying that the territory also belongs to them and is being handed over to them under international law. So this is the situation you have there. 56,604 square kilometers of land, 2.9 population. The Israelis, they are just 600,000 in the occupied territories there, in violation of international law. Now let's come to what President Biden was saying about this protest by the Palestinians. It's typical American hypocrisy. President Biden is complaining that the Palestinians are guilty of anti-Semitism. He had nothing to say about the violation of international law by the Israelis in the West Bank. No, they are not listening to International Court of Justice. They are not listening to anybody. How can one state called Israel place itself above international law? That is the question. And that is why people are calling out President Biden that, this typical hypocrisy. They will hide under anti-Semitism in the same manner in which America has not been very frontal and honest about condemning the violation of the rights of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. So, but this is, we are told, this is the way international relations works. The people who have powers, they claim superior power, and they just do as they like, in violation of multilateralism. So President Biden, whatever he's saying, I don't think too many people, will take him seriously when it comes to Israel.
Yeah. It's an election year in America, so do you think
it is an election
why?
year, and of course, Joe Biden would be very careful in how he responds to this Israel-Palestinian issue. Number one is that he's become a bit more unpopular, especially with those who are undecided and the younger generation of Americans with regards to how he's handled this Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I think it's fair enough what he said in terms of upholding the rights of people to practice their religion, but also he must in equal measure condemn actions to prevent people, access to their human rights. And this is what America has come heavily criticized under in the last few months since this conflict started from last year, October. So it's sad to see this play out. And I think more than ever, with the escalations that happen in the United States, he has to understand that this is a time bomb ticking. If he doesn't handle this properly, if this is not properly handled, then we begin to see events like this, more events like this happening in the United States. He doesn't want that for this year in particular. He definitely doesn't want that.
But people know the side he stands in all of this. Like Dr. Abati said, the hypocritical side. This is the same President Biden that has now brought forward a hypocritical ceasefire deal in all of this that he feels will be signed by Hamas and co. after he oversaw the killing of over 37,000 people on the Gaza Strip with American weapons. But in one breath, he's calling for peace. In another breath, he's trying to balance things out. So he's very hypocritical. While all of this is going on, he's still funding Israel big time. While all of this is going on, the shocking reality is the fact that election year, he was shown the strong discontent of pro-Gaza protesters during the primaries election where people deliberately, voted against him to show him. But he doesn't still care about that because of the deep state affiliation to Israel and the fact that America is betrothed to Israel of some sort, so they cannot take any action. And over the years, Israel can break any international convention, but another country breaks those conventions, they become a pariah. And that's the hypocrisy of what America does so well. So I am not surprised about this that Biden is saying. Biden is just trying to be popular. But anyway, Americans have made their decisions one way or the other where they will still vote. But it is not even only Biden. It is a reflection of the American states in cahoots with the leanings of the deep states.
Yeah, well, we'll see how Americans vote in November. Now, let's take another story where Gbenga Sesan, the executive director of Paradigm Initiative, has revealed a significant vulnerability in Nigeria's National Identification Number, the NIN database. Sesan disclosed this during a live television broadcast that his organization was able to purchase the NIN slip of the Interior Minister, Honorable Bosun Tijani, for just 100 naira, demonstrating how easily sensitive personal data can be accessed and exploited. Well, this revelation raises concerns about citizen privacy and national security, as malicious actors could potentially impersonate high-profile individuals. Paradigm Initiative has announced plans to pursue legal action on behalf of affected Nigerians, criticizing the Nigeria Data Protection Commission and the National Identity Management Commission for their inadequate oversight and response to data breaches. NIMC has firmly denied any data breach, assuring Nigerian citizens that their data remains secure and uncompromised. It has acknowledged unauthorized access by entities by any verify, which it labeled as unauthorized data harvested. NIMC has warned the public to avoid these sites and refrain from providing any personal information. Yes, so.
All right, well, this is not good at all, especially we've raised the question around data collection, data privacy, policies around that, how many institutions collect data from Nigerians when this can be harmonized. And this was where NIMSI was meant to come in, to harmonize so that we have one data source, especially for Nigerians. Unfortunately, we still see, I mean, count how many times your data is collected. You register to vote, collected. You register for a bank account, collected. So many opportunities for that. Now, NIMSI, in trying to contain this report, this expose, tried to explain this away by saying, oh, some websites. In fact, they listed 5 websites that were harvesting people's data. But now they've exposed it that even the minister himself of digital economy, his own data was purchased for a measly 100 naira. I think that's even what should get people scared. So rather than denying and trying to make excuses, there's been a huge flaw in their processes. Let us investigate it and begin to mop it up and deal with it. Let's not bury our head in sand. This is very sensitive. The example that was given by FIJ, and by the way, always good investigative work by them, was that a military boss, for instance, they could impersonate a military boss, for instance, who will send information to his troops that make me so and so. And that it's a security breach for Nigerians. So we cannot handle this with kids' gloves. I know they're trying to build the trust of Nigerians by managing it and saying that your data is safe. Yes. But internally, I hope they're not taking it so lightly and investigating how this happened. Heads ought to roll. I don't know if that happens in Nigeria, but they need to find out why there was such a breach and then deal with it.
So I think what I'll do is I'll take a tweet, just going off of what you said by Kate Henshaw, where she says, to be honest, the press statement by NIMSI does not in any way inspire confidence that our data is safe. After all the hassle associated with registering for your NIN, your BVN, etc., it is quite appalling that this is happening. It would have been honorable to come clean and take actionable steps to prevent a reoccurrence.
Okay. Dr. Basi, you can go ahead.
Okay. No, I just wanted to say that first, let's commend Paradigm Initiative and also Foundation for Investigative Journalism. 2 bodies that discovered this. First, it was FIJ, that disclosed that a group called Verify, or is it X Verify, we're monkeying around with people's data, and that data is not safe. Now, the problem here is that the Paradigm Initiative and FIJ, they said it drew the attention of the National Identity Management Commission to this problem. They also drew the attention of a body called National Data Protection Commission. The best that they got was that, this is the handiwork of data harvesters. Now, what is the implication if data, of individuals, private persons, can be so easily available on the internet that it can be harvested, including the data of a serving minister, including the data of the chief data regulator in the country. That shows that we're not serious. We've always talked about how data is a problem in this country, where you cannot rely on data. People can just hack into anything. Look at the 2023 general election. Hacking into data and what do they call it? The data backend was a major problem. And now we have just seen that it's not just about election. Nobody is safe because your privacy is violated. Now, we have a Cybercrime Act in this country, which says, you don't just violate people's privacy. So I find it very odd that the attention of the National Data Protection Commission and NIMSI will be drawn to this. And as the story says, they just look the other way. No, that's offensive, because it will make the ordinary Nigerian not to trust data again. Your BVN, we're even told that there are websites where individual BVNs can be made available. So people can just use your BVN to go and do banking transactions. They say the NIMSI card, the identity card, you can use it to get a smartphone card. So which means somebody can just register a SIM card in your name, and so that means we're not serious at all. And I think it's something that they should look into. And NIMSI and the National Data Protection Commission, they have an explanation to offer us. NIMSI is saying they want to do a 3-in-1 card. With this kind of violation of privacy and data, they should forget that idea, because the 3-in-1 card is supposed to put your bank data, all the way to the central bank there. If you go and collect the 3-in-1 card, they will just wipe out your money. And they will come and tell us that, oh, it's the work of data harvesters. No, they are not serious yet.
So, I don't like to gloat, but this morning I'm going to gloat triumphantly. It don't cast. I talk am. And please, you can go and refer to our interview with the then head of information, the Minister of Information then, Dr. Pantami, where we had a back and forth.
No, it was Minister of Communication.
Minister of Communication, where we had a back and forth on the integrity of our data. And I was asking him about where the data were stored, were they stored in situ, in country, in cloud, what are the platform, and he said that they were properly stored. I knew they were not properly stored, and I've been vindicated on this. Go to the website, said you can get anything you want at any price.
100 naira.
It's at any price, even cheaper than that. So what it means is that the data bank by NIMC has been compromised. So what we are dealing with is a high-scale data compromise in this country as we speak.
Sounds severe if you can get a minister's NIN for less than you can
It's
get back Gala.
It's
Cheaper than Gala.
It's cheaper than Gala. So it's a grand-scale data
The people still
compromise.
eat Gala.
in
They
that.
do, Dr.
Yes.
Baba.
And you know what it does? You know what it
Something
does?
happened to the meat inside. Stop eating it.
You know what it does?
What?
It questions the use, one, of that data set. Number two, it also questions the details of people. It also predisposes to a lot of data fraud and crimes. It also predisposes to a lot of identity thefts. So, two things NIMC should do. Can they have a data inquest into what has happened? A honest inquest, not this one they are doing, they are not ready. Secondly, can they now go through all of that data sets and put about storage? Thirdly, the ones they've already released, can they do what I call damage limitation on them? Because most of these things are already in public glare. And you do not know the capacity of storage those that have access to this data have put it in. I mean, if you buy a cloud space on Azure or AWS, you can just load it up there. But Nigeria data system has effectively been compromised. That's what it means.
Well, let's move on now to Katsina, where the Vice President Kashim Shettima has extolled the virtues of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Mohammed Abubakar, describing him as an embodiment of an idea that must be jealously protected and promoted for the country's progress. Shettima emphasized the importance of promoting and preserving the Sultan and other traditional rulers, acknowledging their significant cultural and religious influence. Shettima made these remarks at the inaugural Northwest Peace and Security Summit in Katsina, organized by the Northwest Governors Forum and the United Nations Development Program. His statement follows allegations by the Executive Director of the Muslim Rights Concern, Professor Akitola, that the Sokoto state government is plotting to dethrone the Sultan. Professor Akitola had raised alarm about the plot against the backdrop of the happenings in Kano State and cited the recent removal of 15 traditional rulers in the state. Sokoto state government has denied these allegations. As of this morning, the Sokoto state government has denied the allegations that they are trying to dethrone the Sultan of Sokoto.
Well, we've said it again and again on this platform, that look, the problem that traditional rulers have with state governors is because as we transition from colonial rule to post-colonial rule, the new governors in independent Nigeria took over the work of the colonialists. They became the new colonialists. They turned traditional rulers, traditional institutions into subordinate institutions. Persons who used to be representatives of God on earth were turned into ordinary human beings. And we've been having that problem since independence. Well dramatized in Wole Soyinka's Kongi's Harvest, where, you know, well, don't let me discuss that drama, but we've had many episodes. In this same Sokoto in 1996, Sultan Dasuki was deposed. There are so many other examples across the country. But it's good that in this particular instance, we have the state government saying, well, what is out there? Because what Professor Ishak Akintola of Murik was saying was that they were getting feelers. They were getting rumors, you know, that the incumbent governor was going to go as far as removing the Sultan after removing district heads. But the state government has given clarification and said this is not the problem. But I think state governors have to be careful about how they remove traditional rulers, how they remove district heads. Look at the complications that we have in Kano State, all about chieftaincy matters. And Ishaq Akintola was even saying the law, specifically in Sokoto State, should be amended to say that the Sultan should be exempted from being deposed by any authority, civilian or military, because it's not just the Sultan of Sokoto. He is the representative, the leader of the Muslim Ummah in Nigeria. Otherwise, according to him, Sokoto will no longer be allowed to provide the leader of the Muslim community. And the vice president, Senator Shettima, summarized it by saying, look, the Sultanate is not just about an individual or kinship. It is an idea. And I think by saying it's an idea, that summarizes it.
Okay. Well, let's quickly move on to our final story of the day, where heavy downpour in the hours of Monday led to severe flooding in the Trademore Estate in the Lugbe area of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, submerging the popular estate and leaving hundreds of residents homeless. The area around the estate's gate was particularly hard hit, with extensive property damage. A video circulating on social media shows the estate almost entirely underwater, with belongings seen floating outside of homes, as an unidentified woman narrates the devastating scene.
Took them away, but swept away now by this water. Trademore Estate, please. Wow, see the police station. Please, we are begging. Trademore Estate. FCT Minister, come and do something. Trademore Estate. Please, we are appealing. Trademore Estate. This is crazy. See, the police station is gone. Crazy. This is crazy. See, these are people residents. Water everywhere.
Seems they are calling out for the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, to help them out in Trademore Estate as there's floods yet again. What do you think, Rufai?
I'm sorry, to a large extent on this, I will also have a defense for Nyesom Wike. The issue of Trademore Estate is not new. And many decisions had been made on Trademore Estate in the past. But the residents keep saying, oh, we had invested a lot and all of that. But all the things they've invested, they keep losing every year to these floods. It's not today. I think even Ferdinand Duoro had an extensive report the last time it happened.
Yeah.
It was to no avail. So they go there, they beg and all of that. Now they are calling on Nyesom Wike. I think clarification have been duly made about the issue of this Trademore Estates. So what should you want Nyesom Wike to do when this matter even predates the emergence of Nyesom Wike as minister? I'm not saying they shouldn't find a solution to it, but the solution also involves evacuating people from that area. Yes. Will they allow it to happen? Let's call it spade. It's not we are calling on Nyesom Wike.
Exactly what you said, Rufai. Actually, the FCDA in Abuja had actually said that they would demolish some structures which are built on waterways. But the people pleaded, begged, and so this is what we see. And I say this because in recent times, in Lagos and I think some other states in Nigeria, there were talks about demolition of structures that were illegally built on canals and how they have an effect on floodings. I hope people can see the evidence of what they talk about. So it's not just about, oh, people's businesses, would you want lives to be lost? Would you want properties to be affected? Look at the police building. Would you want that to happen? So let us do things the right way. We sympathize with the people of Trademore Estate, but also we have to tell ourselves the truth. Yeah. Every single person has a part to play, and this is where the government sometimes has to be very tough in their decisions.
Definitely. Well, the residents went to court. A team of lawyers led by Michael Zekome SAN took the matter to court, and then the court gave a restraining order. But again, this year, as we have seen every other year, 2 lives were lost in this incident. A police station at the front of the estate was submerged. And, this happens every year. So the FCDA has said parts of that estate will have to go because a part of that estate is sitting on the waterway. And anytime it rains, the flood causes havoc. Maybe now the residents themselves who are gone to court will be the ones that will now say, well, we think, government has a point.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank you very
Doctor.
much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.